Ryan's fish. The harbour was busier than ever, and there were loads of heavy fishy trains, which Neville and all the other engines all tried to finish pulling. Until later that night, many ships arrived from the harbour with the extra crates of fish. And that was why the Fat Controller decided that the extra fish can be delivered by the special train called the Flying Kipper. Sometimes many ships had been delayed, and some had to be in a hurry. Neville began to grow impatient. "We all have to get used to it, Neville," said his driver. But for now, let's wait patiently." But it wasn't too long until the many deliveries of fish were put on the vans, while the extra ones had to be put into older vans that were not used for a long time. They were buffered up to the extra full vans. Then they were loaded up, and then Neville was on his way. We'll be needing a banker on the way," said his driver, but Neville knew he could manage until help was needed. Ryan was waiting at the sheds for the Flying Kipper to show up. He knew he could not let Neville down. But Neville was doing wonderful tonight. He managed to pull the whole train until he could wait outside Wellsworth Station. His driver stopped him there when he noticed Ryan. "Peep, peep," whistled Neville. "I'm ready. I would need some help over the hill." "Peep, peep," whistled Ryan cheerfully. "I'm on my way," and he puffed off. Until moments after, Ryan buffered gently up to the vans, and the two engines forged ahead. At last, Neville was able to manage up the hill. He knew he could do it, and at last he reached the top. "Thank you, Ryan," he whistled. But then there was trouble. Ryan had not been coupled from the train, and so he began to feel he was left behind. Then he could see the lamp at the back of a brake van, and he went on very fast. But Neville was too strong for the train, and he knew he had to go faster. Soon he began to feel the heavy weight of his train. "What's going on?" he cried. "My train is pulling me." And indeed it was. Then there was trouble. Ryan couldn't see a thing because of how dark it was. Then he heard a crack from the tracks. It was the lamp from the back of the brake van, but Ryan didn't know. He was going too fast, and then there was a loud crash. Ryan had crashed through the old brake vans, and they were all to pieces on the track. No one was hurt, but Ryan's buffers were bent and his funnel had snapped, and all he left was a big big smell of fish on the tracks. Daylight had finally arrived and rescue was finally needed. And the guard had just come back from the tracks and had already found the broken lamp. Ryan looked abashed. "I'm sorry, sir," he said. "The accident was not your fault," said the Fat Controller. Perhaps that lamp should have been secured before either you or Neville should have left earlier last night," he said. "But don't worry about it. We'll have your buffers fixed and we'll get you a new funnel, just like Neville's," he said. "Yes, sir," said Ryan sadly. But Thomas was right," he said. Fish is really bad for your tanks, and it can also leave you an awful smell. That's all he told me, didn't he?"